5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to your Media Mosh podcast. I'm your host, Shane Beauregard, coming at you with all your news, reviews, and previews on what to watch on your streaming services, your television, and your local theater. I hope everyone's had a great week. Coming at you Sunday, September the 22nd. And boy, was I wrong about this weekend. I will fill you in on that in a minute. I made a prediction, and I was way off the mark. But before I get into the news this week, I'd like to give a special shout-out to the guys over at Pino Comics. They just reached their 100th podcast episode, and you can go find them pretty much anywhere. Go to the Apple Podcast Store, go to their YouTube channel, subscribe there. They're everything pop culture. They do a great job, and I feel like they do a lot for the local podcast community, so hats off to the guys at Pino Comics. Let's get into some news here. Seinfeld has been picked up by Netflix for 2021. There's a Saved by the Bell, which I put out a little information last week. I was wrong. They came out this week and said it's going to be a revival. I guess that's a new term being thrown around. Starring A.C. Slater and Jesse Spano. And I, for the record, will always be Team Spano over Team Kapowski. And they are going to have Zach Morris. I guess he's the governor of California, and they don't know if he's going to be in it yet. He's recently on a spin-off show of Blackish called Mixish. I think that's what it's called. But don't worry, he's in the show. It won't last that long. Usually his shows get canceled after a season or two. But he was saying he probably will not be in it because the Saved by the Bell revival is on NBC, and he's currently working for ABC. But I imagine they would have to work something out, and he'd at least have a cameo in that. That is going to be for the Peacock streaming service, but I don't know when that's going to launch. Let me see, this is a little bit old, but Robert Downey Jr. is in the Black Widow movie. Now, pump the brakes. I'm pretty sure all those scenes were just older scenes that were already shot. The Black Widow movie takes place after the events of Civil War. Still looking forward to that one. M. Night Shyamalan's just signed a 2-picture deal over at Universal. No word on what he's creating, but he is signed up for at least 2 more films at Universal. Hopefully, it'll be better than Glass. Oh, here's news of the fucking weird. Jeremy Renner has an Amazon store. Yes, you heard that right. Jeremy Renner has an Amazon store. Kind of like a Great Outdoors Provision kind of thing. He's sitting there holding a fishing rod. What is going on with this Jeremy Renner explosion? He drops an album. He's like the face of Jeep Wrangler. And now he has an Amazon store. Oh, I just find that very, very bizarre. Henry Cavill is rumored to join the MCU. And the speculation is Wolverine. Personally, I would love to see that. Kind of like the Kit Harington story, that he was rumored to be Wolverine. I just want to see people's heads explode. I really do. I admit, I like Henry Cavill more than I should. I do like most of the movies he's in. But I personally would like to see it. Let's do it, Marvel. Bring him in. Walton Goggins, one of my favorite actors, has a new show on CBS, and I do not really watch network television, but this one caught my eye. He's in a new show coming out this Thursday called The Unicorn. So apparently he's a widower, and he's raising 2 girls. Now he's back on the dating market. That is the premise of the show. I will probably check it out just because, like I previously just said, I am a big Walton Goggins fan. So I'll let you know how that goes. Coming out this Wednesday, September 24th, is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So Wednesday nights at 10 o'clock on FX. Boondocks is being rebooted for HBO, and they're going to come out with a movie and 2 additional seasons. I did really enjoy the first 4 seasons of the Boondocks. You can catch them now. I think they're on Adult Swim. It's basically about two African-American kids that are living with their grandfather in some suburb of Maryland. And it's just, to me, really funny, and they do hit on a lot of topics for today, just a lot of cultural references within the African-American community. I really enjoy the first 4 seasons. That will be coming out next year as well. Sylvester Stallone is in talks with Robert Rodriguez about rebooting or reviving 2 of his older movies, Tango and Cash and Cobra. Personally, I would like to see a Tango and Cash movie. I mean, Kurt Russell is kind of riding a wave right now. I would like to see that myself. I know I'm in the minority when I say that, but I think it'd be a lot of fun. The new trailer for Peaky Blinders Season 5 came out. this past weekend, and I'm going to stop using the word underrated because I feel like I use that word way too much. But I do believe Peaky Blinders with Cillian Murphy is just a very good show that not a lot of people watch. You can check out that trailer. That new season comes out October the 4th. And that is all the news I have for you. Now let's get into the box office. Now this is where I was way wrong. Downton Abbey premiered this week, and I never watched the show. It never appealed to me at all. I heard it was great, but I just thought it was just very niche movie, and only fans of the show would show up to watch this movie in the theaters. And I've seen the trailer, and basically it's about a bunch of rich people getting ready for the king and queen. Now, I am pretty close-minded and ignorant when I'm talking about Downton Abbey, but the thought of servants getting the silverware ready, making sure there's no marks on the glasses in preparation for the king and queen just does not do anything for me. I think I underestimated the key demographic for Downton Abbey. I really did underestimate just call it what it is, the older white crowd that are seeing this movie. Not to paint a broad brush of like everyone in this theater is just old and white, but I would assume that's the majority. So number 5 is the Jennifer Lopez movie Hustlers, bringing in $17 million, 17.1 to be more exact, because It Chapter 4 comes in at number 4, bringing in $17.3 million. Rambo Last Blood brings in $19 million even. The new Brad Pitt movie Ad Astra brings in $19.2, and Downton Abbey $31 million. Are you fucking kidding me with that? I don't know why that makes me upset, but it makes me upset that that's number 1 and it made $31 million. It just fucking blows my mind. Hopefully, I don't know why, I just hope it will I just hope it collapses in the second week, but probably not. Word of mouth is going to come around, and based on the strong performance, I'm sure it'll probably do well next week. Because next week in the theater, you have the Renee Zellweger project Judy, which is sitting at 87% right now, Rotten Tomato. The kids movie, the new DreamWorks movie, Abominable, is sitting at 85%. The Day Shall Come with Anna Kendrick is sitting at 81%. That's the movie I would like to see this weekend. And The Death of Dick Long, sitting at 82%. Those are your movies for next week. Coming out, or already out on Netflix right now, you have the Toni Collette miniseries Unbelievable, based on a series of true events. Then you have the documentary Survivor R. Kelly, which I have zero interest in. In the Shadow of the Moon comes out next week with Michael C. Hall, Boyd Holbrook, and Bokeem Woodbine, which I do like Bokeem Woodbine, and it's about a Philadelphia detective trying to track down a serial killer through time. Apparently there's time travel involved in this, but it does look really solid. I like the cast, and I like Michael C. Hall. That comes out on the 27th. And I'm Sorry came out this past weekend. New season 2 with Tom Everett and Andrea Savage. I hate using the word cute, but it's a cute show. So if you like shows like Working Moms, it's kind of like that. She's a comedy writer, and Tom Everett plays her husband. He's a lawyer, and it's basically about their lives raising their little 6-year-old girl. I find it just, again, cute, very funny. You got Richard Mall in it as well. So go check that out if you are into Working Moms. That is right now on Netflix. Now on Amazon Prime, coming out next Friday. Here are some notable movies that I wrote down. You have the Matthew Broderick, Reese Witherspoon movie, Election. You have Big Top Pee-wee, Event Horizon, Harlem Nights, the Christopher Nolan, Robin Williams, Insomnia, the Brad Pitt, Dave Duchovny movie, California, Mad Max 1 and 2, and True Grit. So make mark of those. That's coming out on Amazon Prime next week. Now, before I get into what I watched this week, which I finally got back on track with my viewing here, I am going to release... Now, I announced last week that I was kicking the tires, and I'm going to go ahead and do a bracket-style elimination for actresses who are 50 and older. And I did catch some shit at work for it, but oh well. And based on the female response I had, I also will be doing a male version, though I do find that a little tougher to come up with. But they want me to keep it plus 50 as well. So I released my 1 seeds last week, which was J-Lo, Salma Hayek, Elizabeth Hurley, and Halle Berry. Those are locked. Those will not change. So here are some other entries I'm throwing in. We'll probably make for strong 2 seeds. Jennifer Aniston, Elizabeth Shue, Diane Lane, not a 2 seed though. Elizabeth Shue and Jennifer Aniston, definitely a 2 seed. Catherine Bell from Jag fame, she's smoking, so she could be possibly 2 seed. And Marissa Tomei. So those are ones I'm adding on top of the list here. Again, Diane Lane, Jennifer Aniston, Elizabeth Shue, Catherine Bell, and Marissa Tomei. So I will release some more that follows. One of my clients submitted some men because we were having a tough time coming up with some that are over the age of 50. So here are some ones she's thrown into the ring. Keanu Reeves, Will Smith, Tom Cruise, Robert Downey Jr. I don't know if I'd throw Kevin Bacon in there, but whatever. We'll see how that goes. Lenny Kravitz, Brad Pitt. The only one on here is Ray Fiennes. Like, really? Ray Fiennes? I get John Stamos, but Ray Fiennes. So those are some male entries here, and I'm going to let the VP and some of my female listeners/clients finish that list for me. So I kind of got back to my normal watching patterns. I ended up watching season 3 of Hip Hop Evolution. It's out right now on Netflix. So I get sucked into these, even though I'm not the biggest fan of hip hop, but I do enjoy hip hop at some levels. And especially when you're breaking down documentary style where different artists came up from and how different sounds developed in areas of the country. So this one does East Coast, West Coast. They do Atlanta, or what they call the Dirty South. So 4 episodes are about 40 to 50 minutes per episode. I really enjoy them. Me and the VP are watching, currently together, we're watching season 2 of The Sinner and I'm Sorry, which I previously mentioned on what's out right now on Netflix. My Netflix movie of the week is Between Two Ferns, the movie, with Zach Galifianakis. I'm not going to pronounce that again. And Will Ferrell, John Hamm, Keanu Reeves. There's a Brie Larson. There's a slew of celebrities in this movie. It's based on the skit from Funny or Die, where you have Zach awkwardly interviewing a celebrity between two ferns. And it's deadpan humor, so I got some big laughs out of this movie. This movie's not going to be for everybody. It's a shade under 90 minutes. It's a pretty fast-paced movie. He has, like, Zach's show is at a local TV network, and there's an accident that happens involving Matthew McConaughey, and it ruins the studio. So to fulfill his contract, Will Ferrell sends him out on the road to get 10 interviews, and if he fulfills his contract, he will have his own late-night talk show, which is what he's always wanted. So the stuff between the interviews, I find it was hit or miss. Now, to take a skit concept like this and turn it into a feature film, I thought they actually did a really good job. Again, the best parts are the interviews. And here is a little snippet from the show, and this is the humor that I am talking about, so bear with me.
The big scar right here. From a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Where is it?
It was from here to here.
Big one. God, that big.
Yeah, it's big.
I have a similar scar on my leg.
From what?
I walked out of the movie Lake House, bumped into the seat in front of me. On a scale of 1 to 100, how many words do you know?
1 to 100.
Like, do you know 50 words? Do you know 75 words? Do you know 18 words? Is it frustrating to have people think of you as a complete bozo, when the truth is that you're just a man with below average intelligence? Just do 1 for yes and then 2 for no. Do you research your roles?
Yeah.
Have you ever considered researching a character that has taken acting classes?
Right now I'm acting like this is fun.
And that is pretty much how every interview goes down. Again, thumbs up for me. The worst part of the movie, I will say, is Will Ferrell himself, because I'm up and down on Will Ferrell. To me, his character was the worst part of the movie. It kind of brought everything down. I didn't find any of the scenes he was in. Thank God he was only like in 2 or 3 scenes. I didn't find those funny at all. There was a really funny scene with him and Christy Teigen. You know, the plump Tia Carrera. Her and John Legend, there was a funny scene there. I'm going to go ahead and cautiously, I only say cautiously because if you don't like deadpan humor or very awkward situational comedies, you're not going to like this. But I actually had some really loud belly laughs. And there are some outtakes after the movie, so I would recommend just watching all that as well. Paul Rudd's in here, and his part was hysterical as well. So it's, like I said, for a skit movie, it's better than most Saturday Night Live movies, to be honest with you. So Critics right now have it at 77%. I would tend to agree there. I'm going to go ahead and give Between Two Ferns, the movie, a 3.0 out of 5 for me. So thumbs up there. Go check that out right now on Netflix. And the movie I was waiting for, Rambo Last Blood. I am an unapologetic supporter of Stallone and Arnold. I want to see 10 Expendable movies. I want to see 20 Rambo movies. I want it. So I make no apologies for my fandom of Sly and Arnold. And this one right now is sitting at 31% critic score with the 83% audience score. This movie is straightforward and simple. I'm going to try to take my Stallone bias out of this review. They had a retcon of family for him, pretty much. He's living in Arizona. He's a cowboy rancher now. Somehow he has a Hispanic maid, not family member, but like not of the traditional family member, but apparently she takes care of him. He has a quote-unquote niece that is graduating high school and getting ready to go to college. So yeah, he's enjoying his laid-back cowboy life. That's the setup of the movie. He has this elaborate tunnel system under his ranch for reasons that come up at the end of the movie. His niece wants to go to Mexico to track down her deadbeat dad who left her and her mom who died of cancer. This is all brought up in the movie. And trouble comes up when she goes to Mexico. She gets kidnapped and thrown into a sex ring for women. And so Rambo, being Rambo, goes to Mexico to try to take her back. And that's when Rambo shit goes down. Now, as far as the story, yeah, it's weak. Again, they retconned everything in there. But you do not go into a Rambo movie expecting great writing. Well, maybe you do. If you do, I don't know what to tell you at this point. Objectively speaking, this is probably the weakest of the Rambo movies. I really enjoyed the last back half. I mean, I enjoyed this movie, but really it kicks up in the last half. It turns into the best Home Alone sequel you'll ever watch. Kevin McAllister has nothing on John Rambo when it comes to booby trapping, barns, farms, and tunnel systems. There was some really gory stuff in here at the end, and it pissed me off a little. Not the gore pissed me off, but undoubtedly there's always a fucking family member who brings their kids. Now, they bought 4 kids, a 2-year-old, what looked to be a 5, 6, and an 8. And, like, again, the last half of this movie turns into a fucking Saw movie. So I'm sitting there thinking, my blood started to boil, and all I can think is, I hope your kids get fucking nightmares and keep you up for 2 months. Because I will say, the very end of this Rambo movie had one of the fucking awesome, best Rambo scenes ever. And I'm not going to spoil it, but one of his kills was just fucking phenomenal. So I was totally satisfied with this Rambo movie. And all joking aside, this will be the last Rambo movie. Now, he did not tie this up as well as he did his Rocky franchise, going back to Rocky Balboa. I thought he put a nice bow on that franchise and let that character kind of go out the way he wanted to go out. I didn't get that same satisfaction from Rambo Last Blood as far as, like, you know, putting a knot on his on this character if this is going to be the last Rambo film. I don't know what I would have wanted instead, so I don't have an answer for that. But for me, I got exactly what I wanted out of it. So this is what I don't get about the whole Rambo, or some reviewers and some critics. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, obviously. But I think some critics go into these movies or finding stuff that's just not there, and it just really aggravates me. And basically, there was one critic, and I can't find his name, but basically said it was a product of the Republican Party, and it was highlighting how Hispanics needed white savior to come in and be their knight in shining armor. And I'm like, that's what you got out of the Rambo movie? Now, there are some movies who try to throw in some allegory metaphor, trying to, like, make a statement about what's going on in this country. I don't think fucking Rambo is one of those franchises. I'm sorry. It's a fucking straightforward movie. I think those critics are really fucking reaching for that stuff. So I enjoyed Rambo. If you're a fan of the franchise, it's worth a matinee. I'm going to go higher than the critics, obviously, but I'm not going to go as high as the audience, believe it or not. I will give Rambo Last Blood a 2.5 out of 5, objectively speaking. Can't get any higher than that, just based on the thin story and weak writing. So that's it, folks. That's my show. Now I get to go watch my Jets take a painful beating from the fucking New England Patriots. My only hope is Tom Brady can tear an ACL or blow out his Achilles tendon. So I hope everyone has a great week. You can find me on the Facebook's Media Mosh. Go to my Twitter handle at Shane Media Mosh. I'm on the Instagrams. And more importantly, go to the Apple Podcast Store. Download me. Take a second and give me a nice review. And then turn around and go follow Mr. Argue Myself, Chris Frodell. You can find him on the Grams, the Twitterverse, and the Facebooks. 3 different platforms for 3 different types of content. Get caught up. Get caught up in the mosh.